well, let's keep doing what we're doing. Let's keep destroying the planet. But maybe we can pump enough stuff in the atmosphere to slow down our destruction. We find it more feasible to geoengineer, to pump stuff into the stratosphere in order to shut down the sun. We find that as more feasible than even slightly controlling capitalism. Capitalism is such a runaway monster that is destroying our globe, our little spaceship in the middle of a nothing and a nowhere. It is this. Capitalism is a fucking virus that is destroying it all, and none of us can even come up with a way to slow it, to just slow it, to just ease it a bit. So instead, we've decided, well, you know what would make more sense? To shut off the sun by pumping fucking volcanic ash into the stratosphere. I mean, it's just unbelievable, but I'm not saying we couldn't get there. We may get to the point that literally this is like a fucking Hail Mary, kind of like, would you ever murder someone? No. What if they were trying to murder your family? Okay, yeah. It's kind of like that. It's like, would you ever support doing something that could wreck the planet even more? No. What if it were our last chance to survive for 10 more minutes? Well, maybe. I don't know. The White House, but here's the thing. None of this is being done democratically. None of this is being done with our informed consent. None of this is being done. It's not even a discussion, right? The White House has cautiously opened the door to study blocking the sun's rays to slow global warming. And furthermore, this is being done, at least this part of it, is being done by ourselves. It's being done by the United States without consulting without consulting other countries, of course. The White House offered measured support for the idea of studying how to block sunlight from hitting Earth's surface as a way to limit global warming in a congressionally mandated report that could help bring efforts once confined to science fiction into the realm of legitimate debate. The controversial concept known as solar radiation modification is a potentially effective response, questionable, to fighting climate change, but one that could have unknown side effects stemming from altering the chemical makeup of the atmosphere. For fuck's sake, man. We find it more feasible to alter the chemical makeup of the atmosphere than to slow down capitalism a bit. God damn it. The White House report released late Friday indicates that the Biden administration is open to studying the possibility that altering sunlight might quickly cool the planet, but it added a degree of skepticism by noting that Congress has ordered the review and the administration said it does not signal any new policy decisions related to a process that is sometimes referred to or derided as geoengineering. Is it really derided as? I mean, it's that geoengineering is like a technical term, isn't it? So, but let's be clear here about geoengineering. Yes, it's horrifying, but we also do it in a lot of ways. We geoengineer via climate change. That's geoengineering. That's unintentional, but it is geoengineering. We geoengineer by knocking down all the forest and turning them into cropland. That's geoengineering. So there's myriad of ways that we geoengineer, some intentionally, some unintentionally. I've covered before on this show that it is mainstream knowledge. In fact, I played clips from one of the mainstream networks like NBC or something, their coverage of cloud seeding and trying to make it rain in places where it wasn't going to rain because of drought. Now, of course, that seems great, right? Oh, the drought is fixed. It rained. But if cloud seeding works, then you stole the rain from where the clouds were going to take it. It becomes quite an issue. So there's a lot of not thinking down the road. I mean, if we alter the chemical makeup of the stratosphere, the atmosphere, and we don't know the ramifications, we don't know how that could end. If we chill the planet, let's say by a degree, which is what we've already heated it up more than that, by a degree Celsius, we've already heated up more than that. If we were to chill the planet by a degree, great. We've decreased global warming. This is wonderful, wonderful stuff, right? We did it. We did it. Because we know that happens after huge volcanoes, that it does chill the Earth. It can chill the Earth significantly. Of course, a massive volcano like a caldera could cause a nuclear winter where all of our crops die. And that's no fun. I'm gonna put that in the no fun category. Totally am. When all the crops die, I don't know if you know this, but we need crops. Even if you don't like veggies, which I'm not a big fan myself. It turns out you need some level of crops to survive. Yeah. Unless you're just eating the shit out of wild boar that run through your living room. But even if you do that, you know what the wild boar are eating? They're eating crops. They're eating food. They're eating green stuff. So you actually need green things for us to survive. I don't know if you know this. I was kidding though. I'm a fan of some veggies, as long as they've been deep fried and then you sprinkle Doritos Locos seasoning on them. Actually, they don't sell Doritos Locos seasoning. What you got to do, you got to take a bag of Doritos, then you put in a blender, okay? And then you let it dry and marinate for roughly 2 to 3 weeks. Okay. Then you dump like a basketball size mound of that stuff on everything you eat. And it is delish. America. By the way, I just came up with that, but I feel like if I were to sell that as like a new food type, if I put up stands out on the boardwalk, I bet you I'd be rich as shit if I had the Doritos Locos seasoning and just poured mountains of that on everything. Anyway, so as I was saying, we have been geoengineering in a bunch of ways, and this could work, but it could work short term, and we don't know the long term at all. We don't know. You put stuff in the atmosphere. When does it leave the atmosphere? If we cool by a degree, do we keep cooling? Because there's a point where you don't want to cool anymore. There's a point where you want to stop freezing the planet. But so my biggest point out of this is is being done without our consent. Like, there is no discussion, just as I said with cloud seeding, what some people say it's not working, whether it's working or not, it's being done without our consent. There's so much crazy shit that is not being done with our consent at all, not even being talked about by the mainstream media. You don't even hear a word about it. I mean, yes, I get this is a Politico article, but this is a tiny mention. You're not seeing 24/7 mainstream media coverage of the fact that the White House is discussing pumping shit into the atmosphere to try and save us. I also understand that we could get to, like, we literally in my lifetime, I mean, 20 years from now, easy. In my lifetime, if I stop going naked bungee jumping from unlicensed vendors in Guam in my lifetime. That's my favorite activity, by the way. And it has to be in Guam. That's the only place you can do that type of thing. Naked bungee jumping from unlicensed. You just find a guy on the road and you're like, do you got a bungee? Hook it up. Let's do this. So that's the real reason I ask you to join at leecamp.net is I got to fund my Guam nude bungee jumping fetish addiction. Listen, I've tried to stop so many times, but it's the only thing that keeps me going. I do this live stream just to try and get back to the naked Guamian bungee. I don't know what the term is for people in Guam. Guamian? Guamation? What is the term? Maybe someone knows. Guamwegian. I like that one. I'm going with that one. Guamwegian. Anyway, none of this is done with our fucking consent. Back to my rant. None of this is done with our fucking consent. They're not. There's so little discussion of this. Hey, we're going to try and alter the world temperature. And beyond just no discussion, there is certainly very little to no discussion about capitalism, the actual root cause of the destruction of the planet. Yes, it is technology, but it's technology in a world that puts profit over all else, that only sees profit. If you were to have technology in a world that actually the number one goal of everything was to have a livable, sustainable future that we could all enjoy, that we could all love and have peace and just loving interactions between people and just have friends and lovers and a world where you just come together and you bang on drums and shit like that. If we were all about that and that was the number one motive, then you wouldn't use the technology to destroy the fucking planet. You see what I'm saying? So it is amazing. It amazes me that we are so dumb, so breathtakingly dumb as a species, that before thinking we could evolve past this economic system that is destroying everything, before even having that discussion in most circles, we instead are already moving on to, well, let's keep doing what we're doing. Let's keep destroying the planet. But maybe we can pump enough stuff in the atmosphere to slow down our destruction. I don't know if there's anyone who thinks this solves all the problems. Imagine you keep exploiting all the fossil fuels. Everything stays the same. We've killed 50% of all wildlife over the past 40 years. Imagine you keep doing all of that. You keep acidifying the oceans. You keep dumping all the plastic in. You keep doing all this. Keep knocking down all the forests. But you've stopped the planet from heating is the one thing we stopped. Then you've solved for the moment one problem while allowing all the others to run wild. You know, it'd be like if you had a house with a bunch of people, let's say 30 people, and you got 20 pets that you adore, and there's a serial murderer in the house, and you know who he is. He's killed like 5 people. He's killed 7 pets. And you take your favorite pet, your prize-winning Chadoodle, if that's a thing. You take your prize-winning Chadoodle and you put it in a unbreakable, unpenetrable, titanium case with air holes, of course, so that the serial killer can't get to the Chadoodle. And you're like, I solved the problem. My Chadoodle's not going to die. But you haven't solved the problem. Guy's still running around murdering people. He's still killing the other pets. You still fear for your life. It's not a sustainable situation. But you're like, but I did it. I fixed the Chadoodle problem. All right. I think all of you knew that discussion would end with the word Chadoodle. I think you all knew that was going to happen.